Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about One Piece chapter 1069, We Owe All There Is to Desire. That is a great title for this chapter, considering what we're going to learn about in the end, and my desire to want to finally find out all the mysteries of One Piece. This chapter is like right at the cusp of just telling us everything. Now, this chapter has a lot to cover, so I don't really want to do the whole recap and go by moment. I'm just going to talk about those moments. In particular, I want to start off with Luffy's character. To this chapter, it only had like really 2 lines from him, or 2 moments where he was actually speaking, but they were very impactful, and I want to talk about them. The first one was when Luffy asked Lucci and CP0, "What are y'all doing here?" And Lucci says, "This is a government island. Of course we're going to be here." And Luffy's like, "Oh yeah, I guess we're the ones that are out of place." Now, this might just seem like some silly back and forth, but this really gives you like an insight in how Luffy really thinks. He feels like he should be free to go anywhere. He doesn't see this island as being owned by the government or run by the government. He doesn't give a fuck where he goes, as we see many times in the past. So Lucci is the one who enforces this system, that standard, that there are barriers, there are places you don't go, we control this area. But really, Lucci does, because of the government and the way that he, ranks in that government, has freedom pretty much as long as he's ordered to be in that area, to go wherever he wants and do what he wants. He kind of has like carte blanche. So he kind of has some kind of weird twisted version of the freedom that Luffy wants. And that was just really cool to me anyway. Maybe I'm just overthinking things, but that's just what I got out of that interaction. And later on, we see what happens to Atlas. Basically, the repercussions of the end of the last chapter. Lucci seemingly just killed Atlas, but she seems to be still hanging on. His actions speak louder than words normally. The first thing he does is he notices that she's down, and then he goes and looks for help, tries to get Chopper to help. And then he's looking for vengeance after that. So before he even gets into a physical altercation or try to worry about that, he really does care for other people, because he says, let's get this person some help. Which, I mean, it's a small thing to put in here, and maybe, again, I might be overthinking it, but it starts to add a little bit more layers. I don't know. Maybe I just don't pay attention to the decisions that Luffy makes, because they're obviously just seem to be just silly. But this one is to me anyway, a little bit more significant about the character, the kind of person Luffy is, and I liked it. And one of the reasons why this is a special moment is because of the way Luffy comes to this decision to defend Atlas. Atlas, when they first met Luffy, basically provided food, some kind of sustenance. Even though she didn't make the food, she showed them or told them how to go about getting themselves fed, and then provided them with new clothes, not knowing that they're basically trap boots. But that doesn't matter. To Luffy, these simple gestures show that she is somebody that he needs to protect, or he should protect, because she was there for him, and now he needs to be there for her. And it drives him, that simple motivation drives him to do crazy things like take on the world government. And looks like basically this is the same setup of what happens with Luffy's friends. Something happens to them, most likely it's at the hands of somebody who's in the government, or a direct action that is ordered by the government themselves, and then Luffy goes off and starts wars. And that leads me to the next important moment that I wanted to talk about, is Akainu's reaction. Now, these last few chapters have just been so packed with information dumps and mysteries starting to get explained, and just we're starting to take a little peek behind the curtain at what this whole world really is about. We don't really concern ourselves with the goings on of the rest of the world, and all the way across the sea, Akainu is looking pretty concerned, I'll say that. And he should be concerned, because, just like I said, the thing that Luffy can do the worst is to remove Vegapunk out of that situation, just to get him out of the hands of the government. And he states that it is going to significantly weaken the might of his military. And honestly, before now, I really wasn't thinking about how much Vegapunk can contribute. Like, we've seen how much he's done so far, and it just kind of seems, okay, well, he's caught them up with the pirates, because the pirates seems that much stronger all the time. But no, he really has tech on this island that we've just seen in these last few chapters, that if it was mass produced and put in enemy hands, would be very dangerous. Imagine seeing a sea that was filled with mechanized sea beasts, you know, that are probably controlled by a soldier that would probably could do that as well. Maybe even share brains with the sea beasts, and hard light barriers that are put up between ships so they could funnel enemy ships into death traps. You know, like, and we don't even know. There's some things that we probably don't even know. He like, it just never stops. He can have whole illusions where you just take people completely out of the battlefield and then surprise them. Surprise, motherfuckers. Anywho, Vegapunk being away from the military, out of the hands of the military, creates just this vacuum of potential that could have been. The Seraphim, we don't know how that's going to go if he is on Luffy's side. Are the Seraphim going to be obedient to Luffy now? Or are they just going to stay after Vegapunk? Or do they just stay with the world government? And we're going to see a little bit of that, how that hierarchy works in this chapter and in a little bit later on. And also the pacifistas. Does he just know how to shut them down? Are they all connected to his brain somehow, and he can just shut them down but by thinking it? Any other tech that he just hasn't revealed to them, or hasn't finished mass producing or scaling it to a point where the common person could just make use of it, you know? Because you can invent some amazing thing, but if you don't make it in a way that's usable by the common man, it's kind of useless for any real purposes. But yeah, Akainu is 100% right. This is a huge deal, and now he's got this big headache he has to deal with. I don't feel bad for Akainu, I'm not gonna lie. Also, Kizaru's on his way? What? That is gonna be awesome. Now we gotta talk about the reveal of Lucci having an awakened devil fruit. We expected it, but now we finally get to really see what an awakened devil fruit or Zoan fruit looks like, because they mentioned that, oh, he was able to keep his sanity, or something to the effect, that he was able to, you know, keep his consciousness. Whereas we see the awakened jailers, and all of them lost their consciousness. They're just mindless beasts. I guess they can follow the commands of the warden, but that's about it. But Lucci got black flames that mimic what Luffy's white flames look like. And then we also get a little bit of a, you know, reveal or a peek, or at least a theory from Vegapunk himself about what devil fruits are. Now that Vegapunk is finally seeing the Nika devil fruit transformation himself, he seems to be very, like, this is the most focus we've ever seen. He wants information on this, because this is probably something that can help explain a lot of the text that he saw in the past, but just doesn't, because he can't observe it. Like, it's one thing to read about something, but a whole nother thing to actually see it, study it, experiment with it, as we see Vegapunk is very interested to do. So now he's observing Nika, and he's explaining that, yeah, there's no such thing as a rubber devil fruit. It's the Nika devil fruit, and he is a god, and he is the god that they were talking about all these years ago. And it seems that, maybe I'm misunderstanding this part, but it seems that the original god, Nika, or some god, created these devil fruits, and it was desire that drives them. He uses the line from Roger's Execution when he says, as long as people continue to desire, these things will never cease to be, or never cease to exist. Something along the lines. That's just his theory. I don't know if that's going to be revealed some way. I really hope we do find out the true origins of the devil fruit, but it seems that we can take a little bit of hints from the smartest man in the world with the most knowledge among all people probably ever in existence ever, except for somebody else who probably had this fruit and did the same thing. Anyway, we get the hierarchy of the Seraphim, or basically who can command them, and at the very top was the Gorosei. So apparently they got top billing. They probably funded the project, of course, so they really want to reap the benefits. They seem to be the ones calling the shot on the whole Shikibukai, and I mean, it's just starting to make sense. Like, all of the conversations, how interested they were in the Shikibukai, or the Seven Warlord system, that is now turned into SSG and the Seraphim projects. We saw Kuma get turned against the Marines, or the CP0, and he never looked more intimidating, kind of like when we first saw him against the Straw Hats, but also so cute. Like the way they drew this panel just looks amazing, because it's like one of my favorite pictures anyway. I really like this one. He also seems very powerful, so like it's just nice to think that we got these guys on our side. So Sentomaru has more authority than anybody, you know, in the lower governments or among the ranks, CP0 included. And then the only people above him is Vegapunk and then the 5 elders, which I bet you the 5 elders don't have access. I mean, how can they really trust? Vegapunk probably has the supreme authority over all of his creations, I'm sure. I mean, he's not dumb, right? He's not dumb. We gotta assume that he's got the best plan, you know? Like, at the end of the day, he's many more steps ahead of pretty much anybody, but who knows? Maybe Imu is just that smart, and I always think she has got some kind of, you know, hidden tactic that we just don't know. Also, I wanted to talk about the nicknames, or the code names, for all of the Seraphim. We got S-Bear, we got S-Snake, we got S-Hawk, we got S-Shark, I'm assuming S-Crocodile, S-Gecko, S-Flamingo. That just means like there's definitely no Seraphim for Buggy, Law, and Blackbeard. Like, what would their Seraphim code name be? S-Clown, S-Sad-Boy, S-Demon Man. Oh, and speaking of those clones, I don't remember seeing Hancock have a reaction for seeing her clone, so she may have not, I might have just missed that or forgotten it, but we see a reaction from Jimbei seeing his clone, and it is shocking. He's got the little sweat beads coming down. Of course, he's also lifting Atlas, but, you know, he should be able to handle that without sweating. He is sweating, like, looks like he saw a ghost. It is pretty cool to think that, man, you'd be fighting yourself, and potentially a better version of yourself. I mean, this is done a lot in, you know, it's kind of tropey because it's done a lot in other medium or other books and stories and stuff, but it's still pretty cool in this story. I guess it's because we spent so much time, you know, with One Piece characters. They can do a lot of the tropes and still get away with it because, I mean, by now we've either seen that it's just kind of like a common thing that they're always going to do, or it's something new, and by now anything new is just fantastic. And I don't think we've had twin fighting in One Piece. Nope, I don't think so. Oh, and damn, the last panel again showing that Lucci is brutal. He just took out Sentomaru. I've never disliked Sentomaru. Like, anytime he was on the battlefield, like even back when pacifistas were first introduced, I just liked him. Like, I liked his vibe. He was very loyal. He's loyal to his family. Like, he seems like he's doing it for his family, for the reasons he's not actually part of the government, but he'll work for them because his family is working for them. But I don't know, I just kind of liked him. I just thought that he was a funny character. He's pretty cool. Just in, out, doesn't have to have a lot of backstory or anything like that to just get me on board with him. And then, Lucci is an asshole. He just gave it, did it so fast. I can't wait to see that animated. That's going to be fantastic. This whole fight is probably going to be ridiculous. It's probably going to hopefully blow it up a little bit longer than what it is. But yeah, I didn't even talk about what the main fight, Luffy versus Lucci. This doesn't seem to be going Lucci's way. Yeah, he got, you know, awakened too, and it looks badass, and he looks like he's way faster. But I mean, Luffy's over here grabbing his head and moving it around, dodging attacks. Like, he's going extra hard to make him look like a fool. This is not going to end well for Lucci. But Kizaru's on his way, so we're going to see what's happening up next. I hope you guys are here for that. If you like this video, if you want to see me talk about the rest of One Piece and other topics and theories, subscribe and like this video. And tell me in the comments below what you thought about this chapter, and peace.